what's up?
Baby, let's go!
Welcome to our website. We've got loads of news and gossip for you today. But first, here's a new song.
Yeah, Broadway is back.
Finally. It's been way too long.
Yeah.
I have an idea. Let's catch a musical.
Hey, that's an awesome idea.
How about this one?
Now that one's got a great cast, but the music, I wasn't feeling it.
How about that one?
Now that one's got an amazing choreographer, awesome spectacle, but I don't know, the music just didn't do it for me.
I got it. Rock of Ages.
Now that's a great show, but that lead guy, not so much. You know what? I got a great idea.
It's lunchtime and the Brooklyn Cafe is open for business. Live from the AMP Media Studios, Dawn and Freddie S. and their team are ready to serve up a huge portion of fun for lunch with friends and neighbors. So let's break open that lunch pail and unwrap that sandwich you brought and take a front row seat in the Brooklyn Cafe and get ready to enjoy some humor and hot topics. It's time to get a healthy serving of hope and happiness to help your day go by with a smile. Your hosts, Dawn and Freddie S., are ready to talk about food, health, dating, or just plain dream making. If you have a story to share, movie review, restaurant critique, or just a coincidental thing that happened to you, call in toll free 888-994-4995, Studio A right now. Sit back and enjoy your lunch break at the Brooklyn Cafe. Here are your hosts, Dawn and Freddie S.
Welcome to the Brooklyn Cafe on a beautiful, what is
Wednesday.
it? Wednesday. We just fixed that camera.
We did it.
All right.
Thank you.
Because what?
I guess I had something showing. The TV was showing. Happy Wednesday to you.
What?
Huh? Don't worry about it. We got it taken care of.
Lord have mercy. Do me a favor. Share out the show. Sharing is caring. I'm in jail again.
Are you?
Yeah. So if you can help me out here and help us out a little bit, we would appreciate that. We got the coffee news hot off the presses.
Hot
in the
off
house.
the presses. Today's edition of the Coffee News.
It is. And I got to get me a cup of coffee at the next commercial break because I need a little bit of that magic juice.
All right.
Is that right?
We had a nice morning. We had our morning show, and then we got to do you had the honor of doing a really very, very special segment with Harry Holzwasser. So I'm so excited. Harry Holzwasser.
Holzwasser.
How'd that do for you?
Holzwasser. It took 6 takes, but I got it.
We've known Harry for quite a few years, and his sister-in-law, Stacy Mandel, one of the artists featured right here in the studio, and a very good friend. And Harry was in a couple weeks ago, and we asked if we could have the honor of please recording some of his stories of World War II. He's 97 years young. Harry is remarkable. And today was the first day we got to start recording some stories, which I thought was a great idea because, of course, tomorrow is Veterans Day.
That's right. It's a nice
And
day.
we put you kind of on the spot
Not at all.
to do those questions, but you had them.
I was a big history buff, and I told Harry, if anything I say is not correct, just correct me. I found out that Brussels sprouts was the food of the day. Back in the
Really?
day, yeah. You gotta look. You gotta look at this thing. There's a lot of things. There's something called What was it? V-mail, Harry?
Yes.
Which I didn't know
V-mail.
even existed. V-mail.
V-mail.
Victory mail.
Victory
Victory
mail.
mail.
Oh, hi. Victory mail.
Victory mail, which was kind of cool because he was written from his family. They wrote to him, and he got every piece of letters through a victory mail system.
It's really amazing that you got to do that. And I have to tell you, Stacy and Harry, Freddie never writes questions down. In all the years I've known him, and I found him in Studio A, I said, you ready to roll? His way? I got to write my questions down. So it was a whole nother level.
What I wrote was some of the information Harry gave me.
Yeah.
What year he went into the conflict, where he served, because when he gave me that information, my history buffness went into overdrive because I remember reading and watching movies and things of that nature. So I try to relate with his story, which is the truth, to movies and things that I had seen. But I'm gonna tell you, and I tip my hat again to Harry that his brains are still intact because of everything he went through, everything he's done. And we thank you for your service and everything you've done. It's a very proud moment that I got to be in front of his presence. How's that? And I had fun doing it.
Did you learn something that you didn't know before?
Yeah, he got the mail with the Brussels sprouts thing. I thought he was at the Battle of the Bulge. I got to find out that he transferred Patton from one area on to, because Patton was on his way to the Battle of the Bulge, and he was in the motorcycle crew in front that took him to one leg of the thing, and then they went on. He was in France, he was in Scotland, he was in Piccadilly Circle in London, which is a place I visited. And there's actually a plaque, a stone plaque in the middle of the circle honoring these guys. And here I am meeting one of the guys that was there.
Wow.
So it's
Harry,
a
we
remarkable
thank you for
story.
your service. I'm excited that Stacy's waving. I'm so excited that you got to be a part of it. Tell us the message that you want to share for Veterans Day.
Well, we all have to feel great respect for all the guys that went through it. There aren't many of us left, but while we're here, thank you.
I told Harry that we're going to go and watch him and a few hundred other soldiers at Boca West tomorrow morning.
Yes.
And we're going to bring some cameras and sort of, there isn't anything you can say after what they've been through and over the years that they've lived and everything else that they've had to endure, except thank you. And, you know, if you can ever turn on the camera and take pictures with these guys, it's a special moment.
You know, I was talking to a
Kodak
guest
moment.
last night at WNN, and her father was a Holocaust survivor, much of like we had the guest Franny Sheridan, whose parents were Holocaust survivors. And so many of the Holocaust survivors that I've heard the stories through don't want to share their stories. They have not shared them with their children. They may have documented it, and what they've said is, you can see it after I pass. They don't want their kids, they don't want to relive it through their children's eyes, and it's kept very hush-hush. So for Harry to be able to share the story for all of us to understand, and a first-hand bird's eye view of what it was like, brings some more life to it, because if we don't learn from it, we were bound to make the mistakes again, and it is something that should never be forgotten. So understanding where some survivors didn't want to share their story, if the stories don't get out, then the stories don't get out, and they die with the person, and stories should live on.
Well, I did it nice and soft today because Harry actually went into Germany. And he stayed there from May to August, from May 8th to August. And there's a whole lot of history in there. And I didn't want to touch on that today because it's hard. It's hard for him, you know, to sort of rebound and everything else. So I wanted to be a little sensitive. But come part 2, I'm going to try to talk to Harry gently and try to find out what went on in Germany when he was there. And then I'm going to work it backwards, all the way back to Mississippi. And he knows what that's all about. That's where he served boot camp. But the amazing thing about all of this is that I'm going to work it from Germany backwards because I want him, that's going to trigger all of his memories, because that was probably the deepest emotional aspect of it. And then you walk it back. And instead of walking into conflict, we're going to sort of walk out. But part 2 is going to be really, really interesting. I'm fascinated by the fact I've always wanted to do this, always. I didn't know what I was going to ask him when I went in there, and I said, you know what, let's just go at it and see what happens, and you'll see the outcome of it tomorrow.
And tomorrow, I understand our community is honoring about 1,000 veterans at the Boca West Country Club, and Harry, you and Stacy are going to be there. How
I'll
many
be
years have
there.
you been attending?
We'll both be there.
How many years have you been doing that, Harry?
Oh, I would say 10 years at least.
And they have music, I understand. They have the Andrews Sisters.
We have the Andrews Sisters there, and music, and plenty of food.
It's really nice. We've never had the honor of covering a Veterans Day event, so I'm looking forward to it. Thank you so much for including us. Something,
pleasure.
I'm just happy that they decided to hold it because of everything we've had to go through.
absolutely.
Otherwise, we would have probably, because we have some history with Boca West, we would have probably put out cameras and everything else. We just didn't have enough time to do that, but we're going to go take some pictures and some videos on our phones, and we'll put something together that's nice. And again, this is a tribute to the men and women. You know, he went over to Europe with women on his ship.
Well, you were saying when I briefly went in, tell me about when you went over, the first group of women, Harry, that
Yeah.
were serving?
They were called WACS, Women's Auxiliary Army Corps.
And they served just like the men did?
No,
Oh.
they did the secretarial work, the heavy lifting, anything that necessarily goes on in an office or in a company. Fortunately, they didn't have to fight.
Did you realize women went over?
Not until he told me that. And he doesn't remember any of it because he got seasick.
Flat on my back for 5 days.
All he did was smell the perfume.
Really?
Well, they guarded them. The girls were upstairs and we were down below, and nobody could get upstairs. They tried, but they didn't get upstairs, right?
Now, that was a dangerous mission, taking those ships over to Scotland.
Oh, it
There
was
was-
scary.
There were submarines, there were all sorts of bad guys in the water.
That was the beginning.
Yeah.
Well, they had submarines out there.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
the Battle of the Atlantic.
That's right. Do you know, Harry, that there was a submarine in the Hudson in New York City? True story. Look it up. It's true.
Really?
And they discovered it when it was leaving out to the Atlantic, and that's when they came to the realization that the United States was just as much in this conflict as France and everybody else. A submarine in the Hudson.
1943 is when you went over?
Yes, February.
And you were telling us the first 2 months you were in boot camp.
Exactly.
That was it, 2 months of training, and then they shipped you out.
Well, no, it was actually 5 months, but I was trained and trained well and treated well.
It's the most important thing. Do you ever keep in touch with anyone?
No, I haven't, quite frankly. I was so happy to get out of there, I didn't want to think about it.
Is that interesting?
Do you know that when he went to boot camp, they sent him to Mississippi, then they sent him overseas. He didn't see his family until he came back from Germany. He did not see them. He just left.
Wow.
And then when he got back, he had to take a steamboat back and all this other stuff to get back. And then he finally saw his mom, his dad, and his family. But it had to be what, Harry, 4 years before you saw them again?
I was overseas 2.5 years, right?
Yes.
One point, it was kind of funny. We lined up with our barracks bags on our shoulder to get on the ship to go overseas. And it bent my head down, so I followed the wrong guys and was just about to get on the wrong ship, and I don't know where it went, but they sent me back on the right ship. So maybe I might have escaped the whole thing, I don't know.
Yeah, if you would have made a yin instead of a yang.
Yeah.
A left instead of a right, you never know.
Now, this is the guy that they had directing D-Day, the traffic and everything. You know what I mean? He made a yin and a yang.
I have to tell you, Harry, I'm so excited that Freddie had the opportunity to do the interview, because to see your change from this morning to now.
Well, it goes to show you, you know, what these guys went through, that's hell. You know, what we go through today is bad, but what they went through was, there's no word to describe it, you know, and then I got to hear some of the stories. It's just an amazing, it's an amazing honor that I got to do it.
To honor the veterans.
And the saddest part is we did it all over again in Vietnam.
Yeah. Yeah, another conflict.
Amazing.
War is never pleasant, but some wars are different than others, and this one was a war, which is everybody's involved in this thing. So,
How did you meet your first wife?
I was introduced, it was a blind date.
Did you meet her when you came back, or did you meet her overseas?
Yeah, when I came back. I really didn't have anyone when I left. But didn't take me long.
And what it's like now. Well, Stacy, I thank you so much for bringing Harry, and I'm excited to see this spot. I love seeing your happiness over there, and look at her.
No, she's
like
making me smile.
She's making you smile, but you know what? It's so nice to see Stacy smiling. So that in itself is a blessing as well. See,
We
Freddie,
love
it all
her.
works out.
it was very nice. It's thank you for doing this, Harry. Thank you for sharing.
There's one thing that I would like to reiterate. They didn't get enough credit for it. But not only were the Jews put in incarceration, but there were displaced persons, they were called, from all of the conquered countries that the Nazis did. They brought them back to Germany to do the manufacturing and the armaments and all the rest of them. And those poor people, which we used to take care of, were left alone in the middle of Germany, nowhere to go, no homeland, no nothing. So that was a very sad story.
Were you able to go liberate some of the camps? Was that part of what you did?
No, thank God, no. No.
Because when you talk about the displaced persons, I can't even imagine what would be
Well,
like.
unfortunately, some of the displaced.
Like you and your family uprooted and sent to Germany.
And the problem was when they got a little hairy, when they went into Germany, they didn't know who was American, they didn't know who was a German, and everything else. A lot of those displaced got killed, and they had to be shot because they didn't know who they were. So he wasn't a big sports fan, so they had to teach him who the Brooklyn Dodgers were, who won the World Series, because that was the way that you found out who was an American. Otherwise, bullets were flying. And let me tell you, one of the things I learned is the armament that the Germans had compared to what we had, night and day. Night and day. Our guns shot all over the place. The Germans shot straight. And their tanks were 3 times bigger than ours. They were a well-oiled machine. If we had their armament, that war would have been over in a year. That's how good we were. But we had bad equipment. Bad equipment. And that is one of the reasons, ladies and gentlemen, that the U.S. military spends so much money on what we do. We spend it because we learned a valuable lesson in World War II. You get your butt beat when the other guy has a bigger gun. And they have bigger guns. I still don't understand how these guys overcame that. You should see these tanks. I've seen it. I went to the World War II history in North Carolina, I think it was. No, in where the hell was I? New Orleans. The tank is the size of this room. And ours is maybe a quarter of the size. And these guys, you asked them to jump in front of them bad boys, and that's where he lost his hearing from. Lots to learn. Check it out tomorrow.
It's going to be great. I know you're going to be working hard tonight putting this piece
Put it
together.
Yes.
You got to do it, film it, edit it, put it together to get the nice feel
I've
on
done
it.
a few of those in my day.
Wow. Harry, Stacy, thank you so much. I'm really looking forward to seeing this piece. We've never had the honor of putting a real veterans piece together. And to start putting your story together, Harry, for your family as a legacy is an honor to us. So thank you.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you. More to come. And we get to see you tomorrow at Boca West and
We'll
to all
see
the
you
veterans
We'll see you later. Thank
that
you.
we get
dear.
to see.
Absolutely.
All right, we're going to
Thank
take
you,
a
Harry.
commercial break.
Let's do that.
When we come back, we've got a longtime friend joining us. We've got Erika Obando, without a voice, author and artist, sharing her story. So this is really exciting. Stay tuned, and we will be right back.
From your very own Brooklyn Cafe Show coffee, the official coffee of the Brooklyn Cafe Show. You can pick up a bag from us, or 2. Contact us at 866-224-5422, or just stop on by. We're at 2400 Northwest Boca Raton Boulevard, Suite 13. Come on in, grab a bag of our signature Brooklyn Cafe coffee. The cafe doors are always open.
Welcome to Lost Harbor Spirits, a world where pirates inspire our spirits, treasures remain undiscovered, and flavors are infused with the essence of mysterious voyages. The distillery became one of the few women-owned craft spirits production sites in the U.S. From our award-winning spirits of vodka and rum to delicious gin, we're always coming up with some new and exciting flavors to keep your cocktails delicious and fresh. Proudly distilling out of West Palm Beach, Florida, Lost Harbor Spirits is a true treasure waiting to be discovered. Contact Palm Beach Distillery at lostharborspirits.com to take a tour, or purchase your favorite spirit at your local liquor store.
We hope you're enjoying this episode of the Brooklyn Cafe TV show. Whether you enjoy watching in the mornings or afternoons, you can now watch with your favorite merchandise. Choose from the Brooklyn Cafe t-shirts, ranging from sizes small to 3XL. Colors available include black, dark heather, and navy. Feeling chilly? Just check out our latest hoodie with over 9 colors to choose from. Sip on some Brooklyn Cafe coffee with Dawn and Freddie in a matching mug as seen on set. Brooklyn hats and special seasonal items are always popping up and available upon request. To purchase, you can visit our online store at brooklyncafe.tv/shop. Happy shopping! Here at the Brooklyn Cafe, our subjects range from hot topics, feel-good stories, and back-in-the-day nostalgia. With guest personalities and business features, you just never know who you'll see on the show. With our brew crew on set, we always air live to inspire, educate, and create. Make it a date and have a day at the cafe. Join Dawn and Freddie every weekday morning from 9 to 10 a.m. and for lunch every weekday from 12 to 2. Amplify your voice. Call us at 866-224-5422 or visit our website at brooklyncafe.com.
With enough butter, anything is good. Tori Wells from Precious Treasure Gourmet Foods thinks so because she single-handedly updated and expanded butter's possibilities. From compound, savory, sweet, and spicy, her freshly made butters aim to please. I don't know about you, but I've never really seen butter this versatile before, and now so feasible. With online shopping, just visit PreciousTreasuresGourmetFoods.com because at Precious Treasures, Tori is working on the best artisan gourmet foods to every table. Remember, guys, true love is like butter. There's no substitute for the real thing.
Watching the Brooklyn Cafe Show. Join us each day and after hours as we talk about the hot topics to open the conversations and share a few laughs. Now, back to Dawn and Freddie S.
Nice little segment with Master Sergeant. Do you know you're supposed to call them by their rank when they're World War II vets?
Staff Sergeant?
Staff Sergeant. He can't stand Master Sergeant. Staff Sergeant.
Staff Sergeant.
Harry.
This segment of the show brought to you by Coffee News. Find your Coffee News located at your local restaurants, free, as well as opportunities to advertise your business. So I guess tomorrow we're going to be reading the weekly horoscopes.
Horoscopes in the morning. And we will have also a trivia question that if you answer, you win a bag of coffee. And I just spilled coffee on my copy.
Which is why you have that pad in the other room.
That's right.
We've got Erika Obando with us, artist and author Without a Voice, A Woman's Journey to Resiliency, which is amazing. Now, you've known Erika, I didn't realize this, longer than the women's event when I thought we met her.
I think I met Erika at the WNN studios. No, Erika? I met you at NN at the radio station. I think you were on a couple of shows.
I was back in the day.
Back in the day?
Back in the day.
It's funny because it seems like it was like 100 years ago, but it was like maybe 8 years ago, Erika?
It does feel like 100, but no, it was about 8 years ago, and I think it started out with one of your hosts, Michelle.
Yeah. Michelle Dempsey.
Okay. We met her at Alexa's event at the first Women in Power X. We met so many of the great people when we all were starting out at the same time about 6 years ago.
Yes, there was a whole crew of women that followed that expo. Yeah, you're right.
That's where we met.
Dempsey,
it was Alexa, Dempsey, Alicia, Lady Ann.
Yeah, there was a whole bunch of women. Yeah, wow.
So Alexa was really on the cutting edge of women empowerment. And I know you got to see her when she was down here, I think a few weeks ago. I was hoping I was going to see you at her book event, but I didn't. I was there for her adaptable event. But Alexa really paved the way for women empowerment, which sounds so crazy that this was just 6 years ago, right? It took, you think, only 6 years ago we've actually decided to step into our power, but I feel like we're now running very quickly because the women have just come to a whole nother level.
Well, the game has changed. I remember when I first met Alexa and we did Alicia? No.
Alicia?
The event. The Women's
Women
Expo.
Empower X,
Yes. They had called us from California because they said to me, do you know this whole woman empowerment segment that's going on? We need some material. We need guests. And we didn't know anybody. And it says, what are you talking about? What is that? What is this woman empowerment thing? And look at it now.
And she is so paved the way. I want to hear more about your story because when we first met you, you were doing something totally different. You were not an author. We didn't really know about you being an artist, and now you are showcased in different galleries. So give us some background on your story.
Well, first I do want to thank Alexa Carlin because of the Women Empower Expo is why I ended up going down this path. She and I connected right at the first one. So yeah, I can't believe that it's been so many and how wonderful she's progressed and succeeded. She was here for her book signing. She actually did a couple of events. So I missed you, Dawn, at the one you went, but I went to the one right before. But yeah, my story is, wow, it's an incredible story that started out by just something that I lived through. I never thought that I'd be talking about it in public. And then I ended up having an opportunity to share my story on a TEDx stage. And that just catapulted me to the book where I'm at right now. So I wrote the book a few years after doing my TED Talk, which is When Breaking Points Lead to Empowerment. And then the book came about because they said to me, hey, listen, you've got 20 minutes to tell your story on a TED Talk. And I'm like, but I'm Spanish. How am I supposed to put together everything in 20 minutes? But I did bullet points, but a lot of people had more questions. And so when that came about, I said, you know what, it's time to write the book. And Without a Voice came about.
Let's start with the bullet points of your story. You were telling me you came over, you had some child abuse growing up, and now you have this voice. What took you from being abused to saying, now I need to share my story? Because just like we talked about the Holocaust survivors, people don't want to share their stories of pain. And to that point, you and I were talking, from pain also comes from some joy.
Yeah, absolutely. And everyone that comes from a story goes through that struggle. Do I share it? Do I keep it? You don't know if it's the right thing to do, because in sharing your story, you also have to share the entire thing. Some people may not look in good lighting, but I've always said, when you share your story with the concept that you're going to be helping others, it's not about you. It's about who are you helping, who's the reader, who's the listener of your story. And if they can take something away from it, then it's worth the while. And that's what I did. I mean, I talked about, some of my bullet points of my story are, I was smuggled into this country from Colombia. And a lot of people get, weary about that, but I was. That's where my story began. And it was because my parents were in search of a better life for their kids, including myself. And then we were deported back to Colombia because we were here illegally. And we then came back into this country, actually crossing the Mexican border when I was 8 years old. So when you set that up as the beginning of my story, it's already a story without a voice. That's why I called the book that, because I felt that as a child, I didn't have a voice. I didn't have a way to express, hey, why are we going here? What is happening? Why are we doing this? But then, fast forward, I ended up sharing my story and owning my voice and stepping into the power of my voice to help other people who may have gone through the same thing or are going through it right now.
Has that been your mission now, to give people a voice? Is that what you're doing? Is that the important consequence to this? Because I don't know if you had planned on writing a book when I first met you. I remember that there was a lot of women empowerment deals going on, strength and voices and everything. Do you want people now to have a voice? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, it's funny that you point that out because you're absolutely right. I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. I just kind of kept, you know, falling into jobs and opportunities, and I grew in those spaces, right? But when I really silenced myself and I sat down and I said, what is it that I'm supposed to do? Am I supposed to build this resume so that everybody could be like, wow, look at what she did? Or am I supposed to leave a legacy? And when I answered that question is, wow, I don't think I've fulfilled my legacy yet. And then I started discovering what that looks like, and it was to help women and men find their voice, find that healing component that is possible regardless of what age you are. Because a lot of people get stuck in, well, I'm too old. I've been this way all my life, and the reality is you can be a better version of yourself regardless of your age. You just have to do the work. And when I did it and I progressed through that work, I ended up where I am now. You're right. I had no intention of writing a book or speaking in public. I was just kind of following my why, and my why led me to the how, and the how was writing the book and producing it for people to be better from it.
You know, even just looking at your pictures, I keep looking at these and I say to you, is this you? Is this you? I mean, you have transformed physically, and I would never even know this was you and everything you've been through.
Yeah.
What is the message that you want to share with people as far as stepping into their own power and finding their voice?
Well, again, you know, I deal with a lot of people now. What I do on a day-to-day basis is I mentor people. I mentor them through their transformation. What that means is that as adults, we carry all this weight, and we carry all this stuff that that makes us who we are, right? There's a lot of people that will sit there and say, "Oh, that you know, I've been this way for all my life. I'm not ready to fix it." But the idea here is let's fix you. Because if not, then what you're doing is you are then handing this over to the next generation to continue the cyclical, you know, behavior that you've been doing that was done to you. So when you ask yourself, do I want to be a better version of myself? The answer should be yes. And then the next question is, how do I do it? And people like me, life coaches that are available to you should be able to help you to get there.
You know, I gotta stay on two. I gotta ask, because I think that you're going. Stay on two means stay on two. I think that what you're going through right now is you are going through what you're doing, and then there's all these other paths that are opening up. And you know, it's really strange because Latin women have a different approach to this than, let's say, a Jewish woman, because I worked with them a number of years. But there's so much going on here, and then you have all these intricacies that go on. How do you pick, of all the opportunities that hit you, how do you pick the right one? Are you afraid of making a mistake, or do you just play to keep going?
Well, listen, I'm a big believer that nothing is ever a mistake. You're supposed to be there and supposed to live through it and learn through it. And, you know, there's been plenty of opportunities that I've said yes to, that once I do it, I'm like, I don't know if that was the right move. But if you catch yourself and kind of redirect and get yourself back on the path, another opportunity will come up. But, you know, that's one of the things that I talk about a lot. We follow a road that we think we're supposed to know how it all pans out. But that's the beauty of life, right? You're not supposed to know how it ends. You're just supposed to live it on a day-to-day basis. And so if you do something today that actually works and makes you feel good, well, then you keep going down that path. You know, for me, I started speaking in public when a dear friend of mine who knew my story said, submitted your name so that you could be a speaker at a group of 50 women. And I was like, no, that's not my thing. I don't want to do that. And she's like, no, you're already in. You have to prepare a speech, and it's about your story. And I didn't want to do it, but I didn't want to disappoint her. So when I did it nervous, and I was like, I don't even know why she's making me do this. But ultimately, it catapulted me to where I am today. Like, it's mind-blowing that one decision of saying yes to an opportunity that scared the daylights out of me fast forwarded me to where I'm at now, where I'm speaking at universities and I'm speaking on national platforms, helping people. So to me is just go for it. Say yes to an opportunity, and you'll know in your gut feeling if it's meant for you or not.
It's the journey. How do you share with people to overcome their fear? Because your first speaking engagement, you went, oh my gosh, I can't. And the fear that people have really puts them in their boots, and they sink their feet and say, I can't do this. And then it goes into this whole accountability. I mean, it goes all different ways. To overcome that fear and say yes.
Well, to me, it's a simple question, right? What is the worst that can happen if you do what is being presented to you? So when I ask myself that question, what's the worst that can happen if I actually speak in front of 50 women? My voice was gonna crack, I was gonna cry, I was gonna get emotional, right? But if I can live with those things, then I was like, it's not that bad then. Let me just go for it. So it's about just pushing yourself, be your own cheerleader, and push yourself through that fear and say, what is the worst that can happen? If you can live with the answer, then just go for it. On the other side of that, you have a surprise. You may hate it or you may like it, but what if you liked it? So for me, fear is just an opportunity for you to challenge yourself past it. That's all it is for me.
It's the journey. And now you've done so many things. And we were talking before the show started. Now you are a mentor for young people and for older people about what's next, what they're looking forward to doing. You work with young girls with PACE. And
so again, to Freddie's question, how do I know where I'm going? I don't. I just focus on my why, and somehow all of the how shows up. I did not set myself up to be a mentor, but in the process of writing the book, of doing plenty, speaking engagements and talking to people about my story and how I overcame it and how I am who I am today because of my stories, a lot of people started reaching out saying, hey, I think I could use your help. I think I'm stuck in my life, or I have this challenge, and I think, you can help me. And at first I was just, you go through that imposter system, the syndrome, where you're just like, who am I to be here mentoring somebody? But when you start working with someone and you see the progress, you see the change, you see these people actually transforming their lives, then you're like, you have that aha moment, like, wait a second, maybe this is what I was supposed to be doing. And the minute I stepped into that, another client showed up and another client showed up. And that's when you're in your space, when you are aware of what's happening and you embrace it, and then all of a sudden more of it starts coming your way.
Sometimes your example of what you want to teach isn't the words you use, but the things that you've been doing. Weren't you a TED Talk? You did some TED Talk as well?
I did. Another situation that happened because I was at the right place at the right time. I was asked to share my story at a university down in Miami in front of staff and some selected students. And it was a 4-hour conversation. They had an opportunity to ask me questions, and I shared everything that pretty much is in the book. And about 4 months later, I got a call and they said, hey, listen, we want you to be on our TED Talk, on our TED stage, to share that story. And it was a dream that I wanted. I actually had a vision board where I had put, a TED Talk speaker. And I didn't know how it was going to happen, but then that happened. So I know that it sounds hokey pokey, but that's exactly how it happened for me. It was something where I said, I really want to be a TED Talk speaker one day. And then 4 months later, I got called and said, hey, you're a TED, you're going to be on TED. And that has opened up a whole set of doors that just mind blowing. So.
And one of your chapters, The Day God Answered.
Yes.
Do faith in God, the universe, spirituality, manifestation, does that have an important role in who you are?
It is pretty much my North Star. I was never really a person of faith. I was actually really upset at God for a very long time because I'm like, how could you put me through something like this? What have I done? And I had more questions than I had answers for my faith. And I threw what I call an adult temper tantrum in a car one day, and I was just so upset because I'm like, what else are you going to throw at me? And what have I done to deserve this? And in the midst of that temper tantrum, I found my faith. And you have to read the chapter to figure out how it happened. But it's just an unbelievable feeling to feel connected to something greater than just who we are here in this world. Something that you can have faith that they're watching and caring for you from above.
It's interesting because sometimes we say you have to be at that lowest point where you're actually sitting there and having the temper tantrum in your car, yeah, or crying, whatever it is, in your car. to say, you know what, I have to surrender this to God because it is bigger than me. I cannot control this anymore. I don't know what to do. And then faith steps in, and here you are.
Yeah, and I've taught my son. It's funny. I have a 23, almost 24-year-old son, and he didn't believe in manifesting. And I said, Chris, again, there's that question: what is the worst that can happen if you actually try it? What if you go to the ocean with me and you manifest and you ask the universe to deliver things to you as you would like them to be delivered? And I think I made a believer out of him because we manifested a bunch of stuff and it happened. And he's like, "Oh my God, I think this stuff works." I'm like, "Really? You think?"
Erika, what's the future look like? What are you up to? Where are you headed? What's going to go on?
My goodness, that's the golden question right there. I right now, from what I've been doing, is mentoring. That is probably what fills my heart the most. Again, because I see that me sharing my tools, the tools that I used in my life, as I share them with clients and people, and they apply it to their lives, and I see their transformation. I mean, that for me is gold right there. But in the midst of all this, and having launched myself 100% to being an author, a speaker, a mentor, I have had opportunities to get connected with publicists and people in the media that are also advocating to share my story and my voice. And so don't be surprised if you see me on TV sometime.
Well, you've worked in the media, you've hosted shows and TV and radio and other companies. The power, before we get into your art, the power of forgiveness. You've been through a lot. People have been through a lot. Harry, a little bit of his story. To see some of the things people have seen and gone through. How do you forgive when others have hurt you?
Well, look, a little bit about my story, and then I'll talk about why I am a big believer in forgiveness. You know, I came from a lot of trauma as a child, and I held my parents responsible for that trauma for a very long time. And I put them in my mental jail cell, and they were going to be guilty as charged for perpetuity, right? And I said, you're going to stay there. But when I started to really kind of unravel my story, write my story, heal through the process of writing this book, I realized that it was a very important thing for me. They did the best they could with what they had. And as a result, even in the trauma, I learned a bunch of stuff. I learned things that I was supposed to do, things that I wasn't supposed to do, and it enabled me to become a different type of parent for my child. And so in all of that, and starting to look at my journey in a different light, in that sense that my parents did teach me a lot. They were really, really big role models in good ways and in bad ways. When I realized that that's who they were, I released them from my prison, from my emotional prison. And then I said, thank you. I will take it from here. Thank you for what you've done for me, but I will take it from here. And I became responsible for my own life. And then in that process, you have to forgive them, right? They did the best they could with what they had. And so you have to apply that rule to people that come into your life. Are they teaching you something? Are they hurting you on purpose? There are people that hurt you on purpose, but you have to find forgiveness, because the only one that carries the weight of that is you, not them. It's you.
It's true.
Accountability.
Everything she's saying is everything we talked about on the morning show.
It's accountability. Yeah, but you got to understand her journey. Just like when I was talking to Harry, these journeys carry all of this subplots, from beginning to end. Why are we even here? But the interesting thing I like about Erika is that the story will change again, the meaning will change again, and the significance of it will change again, because her life seems destined to have all of these subplots until she gets to where she's going to go. And it wouldn't surprise me if she's on television tomorrow, because this is like in the news, happening and being written as you're there.
Well, look how much she's changed just since the few minutes it has been since we've seen you, in the years that we've known her, how comfortable you are in your skin, in your story now, and to share that going forward. You just had an event over at Lynn University.
I did. I was part of a great initiative that they have going on at Lynn University, which is Be Your Own Boss. and Breakfast with Bosses. And I think that it's just such an amazing platform for our next generation to be exposed to someone who has lived through a bunch of things, you know, and has made the mistakes and has continuously risen up to the position of, I'm still here and I'm going to keep going. And so Be Your Own Boss was I was part of a panel of women that were entrepreneurs in different areas of a profession, and they had the ability to ask us questions. You know, there was this one girl that asked me a question. She said, I know what I want to do, but I don't know where to even start, you know, and that's a legit question. I thought of it like, well, you know, how did I start? You know, and you start by asking questions, by putting yourself and positioning yourself with the people that you want to become one day, and being in those groups. But you know, for her, she was like, I don't even know where. And I mean, some of my answers are like, just Google it, but that's not an answer. You know, it's how do I help you? Because that's the other thing. One of the reasons why, as you say, Dawn, that I feel more comfortable in my skin is because it's no longer about me and my story. It's about, how do I serve you? What am I here to do? How am I here to serve you and help you in your way? And again, you know, giving that person the voice, because it's not about mine, it's about your voice. And so I was really fortunate to work with Lynn, and I hope to work with them in the future again, as well as other nonprofits that I work with too.
Is it more valuable for somebody to hear the answer to a question, or do you persuade them to listen to their own heads to go find the answer?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of giving you the answer. I think that it's a disservice to the person. I think that you find the answer, and it works better for you when you find it yourself. When you have done the work, when you understand what you're looking for, and when you actually find it, that's when you're like, wow, you have that aha moment. But if I sit there and I give it to you, what is it? What worth does it have for you? It doesn't. And so I'm a very big believer of guiding the person along the journey. I'm just your cheerleader along the side, while you go ahead and do your journey. Find your way.
It's interesting, because I said to you this morning when we walked in, it's the journey, not the destination. And you said to me whatever you said to me, and here she sits telling us about accountability and the journey, because we all have our past.
Yes. Okay, you go to one now.
We all have our past and the journeys that we've been through and the journeys that we're going on, and it's the process of how and where we're going.
Well, the funny thing is, the journey signifies you don't know where you're going to end up.
You don't?
So, but you can't be afraid to go. Okay, you go to one now. You can't be afraid to go because you don't know. And I think that the object of the game is to feel comfortable enough to say, okay, I'm gonna go. And when I get there, I get there. Now, it's funny because I've never written a book. I've always wanted to, but I just haven't been ready to. Because I will write an encyclopedia with all the things that have happened in my life. But what I love is along the journey, you meet somebody, because this is the first of many books that she's going to write. The question is, what's coming next? And here is the question of the journey, which is kind of cool.
So I have to ask you, purple shoes versus combat boots.
So I won't tell you too much about the purple shoes, because it's a part of the story. It's part of actually the thread that makes me, believe it or not. And I stepped into that color myself. So you'll have to read that. But the combat boots is because anyone who knows me, they see this, you know, high heel glam person, but I am the biggest tomboy you'll find, you know, and I'm into mechanics, and I'm into doing, you know, a lot of like hand things that, you know, that I enjoy. I like building things, and a lot of people don't think that of me when they see me or they meet me for the first time. So I had to use on the cover something that was reflective of everything that encompasses what I am. I'm glam, but then I'm also that combat boot wearing, you know, Jeep riding girl.
Amazing. Let's take a commercial break. When we come back, before we head over to Manchester, let's talk about your art, because things that you used to do for a hobby now seem to be the center of a lot of what you're doing. You can find Erika Obando at erikaobando.com. We're going to take a commercial break, and when we come back, let's meet the artist. Stay tuned.
Media Productions and WNA Money Talk Radio have been competing in business for 10 years. They've been working around the clock, nonstop, to promote over 500 shows and businesses with added platforms such as social media live streaming, podcasts, and the specialty of live radio. To amplify your impact and start your show today, contact AMP Media Productions at 866-224-5422.
Welcome to your vacation staycation. And what better way to kick back than to blend up a sweet pina colada, a smooth mojito, or just a nice stiff rum and coke. If you want true relaxation and enjoyment, then you want Gubba Rum. Gubba Rum is a unique rum infusion. Gubba Silver Rum is infused with real shredded coconut, and Gubba Rum Gold is infused with real shredded vanilla bean. Both are made with certified organic ingredients. Each infused Gubba Rum is 35% ABV, 70 proof, and as we say in Boston, wicked smooth. So if you're looking for the best combination of taste, smoothness, quality, and price, your clear choice is Gubba Rum. If you want that wicked smooth taste for yourself or your vacation staycation, visit GubbaRum.com to find your closest liquor store that carries Gubba Rum Gold and Gubba Rum Silver. Gubba Rum, it's wicked smooth.
Jay Harmon, exclusively in the Gallery of Boca. Jay Harmon captures the essence of really creative and captivating mind. Jay Harmon brings light into the darkness on majority of his pieces, using a negative background to highlight the details of some of his looks. I know some artists use white canvases, but he thrives on a black canvas. And here's the kicker. He only uses pencil, colored pencil, graphite pencil, and pencil for his art pieces. Yes, I know it's hard to fathom that these beautiful pieces came from pencil, but yes, they did. And the only way you can experience Jay Harmon is if you come to the Gallery of Boca. Jay Harmon, an unconventional artist with a unique story behind every canvas.
Justin Mooney is special counsel of the Florida office of Hinman, Howard & Cattell Attorneys. Justin's practice focuses on tax, estate planning, guardianship, probate, and trust administration. His passion is to provide clients with sophisticated estate plans which carry out their wishes, reduce any potential taxes, and preserve wealth for future generations. The attorneys of Hinman, Howard & Cattell provide first-class legal services and have achieved a reputation for excellence for over a century, staying on the leading edge of the law. When you need representation or legal counsel, contact Justin Mooney at 561-276-1008 or jmooney@hhk.com.
Brooklyn Cafe Show. Join us each day and after hours as we talk about the hot topics to open the conversations and share a few laughs. Now, back to Dawn and Freddie S.
And this portion of the show is brought to you by
2020 The Game.
Ay, Papa Dios. Listen, I'm going to tell you something. I know people that went and bought the game, and they call me up, and they're still playing it. Is there a time limit on this game?
They say it's about 2 hours if you've got
2 days.
If you've got a full 6 persons playing.
No, they've been playing it for 2 days. So what happens now is that they got the puzzle.
Oh, forget the puzzle. Forget 13 and up. We got 26 and up still working on this puzzle.
No, but they're combining these two games. So when you play and you lose states, because you lose electoral
votes, yes.
That one. You have to do puzzle. You got to do a couple of pieces of the puzzle. It's really bizarre how people are playing this game.
It's a great game, though. It's a whole lot of fun. You can get your copy of 2020 The Game at 2020-thegame.com, Amazon.com, Walmart.com, or also at the Palm Beach outlets.
Where do you get the puzzle?
Same place.
They're right next to each other. And there's another one. They're trying to do this because Alana is a little bit. She's actually building the damn thing. When I tell her she didn't have to do that, but she's gonna do it. So we're probably gonna auction it off.
Putting it all together. Well, before we head over to a Manchester studio to Miss Toni Mackenzie, Erika is also an artist now. She is showing at some great galleries. And you know, we get to follow her on social media.
Wait a minute. She's a painting artist?
Yes.
Oh, I thought it was an author artist.
A painting artist also.
Really?
So tell us about how your hobby has turned into an exhibit.
So again, just a funny thing, art for me when I was younger was my saving grace. I feel that painting was my outlet and my voice when I didn't have a voice yet, because I obviously wasn't an author yet. But I found a lot of great creativity and solace in painting, and so it became a hobby. And for a while there, when I was in New Jersey, I actually used to do murals and get commissioned to do murals. But again, it was always just, you know, something that I did for fun. And as of late, again, just because I guess the universe needs me to put my art out there, I have had opportunities to expose my art. I did an exhibition at the Gallery Lounge at the Town Center Mall. And that was about 3 weeks ago, and I'm about to do one at the Box Gallery as well with Rolando Chang, which I'm really excited, and that's coming up this Saturday.
Two great spaces, and we get to watch you paint because you post so many amazing things. Lorraine says fascinating. She is, and what's so great is it would have been great, Erika, just to meet you now in the space that you sit in. But what I love so much is that we knew you from where you were. You knew us from where we were 6 years ago, and we all sort of have grown into this whole space together. And I love to see the journey that you've been on and the evolution, and to watch your love for your son, because I know that's been a transformation from how you grew up.
Right, exactly. Again, you know, I decided, I always say this, we inherit generational toolboxes, and some of those tools and those boxes are broken, and we know they're broken because they didn't work on us. And so it's up to us to decide, are we going to build the next generation? Are we going to build our children with these same broken tools, or we're going to get new ones? And I decided to get new ones, and I have an amazing relationship with my son. He laughs because people know more of him than he knows about people. I've walked with him in places, and they're like, oh my God, Christian. He's like, who is this person? But they see him so much because I'm so proud of who he is and the human being he is, and I can't just stop, you know, gloating about him. So yeah, it's a very important thing. I mean, before I'm anything successful, I am definitely a great mom, and I feel that that I've, you know, produced the best child I could have.
Yeah, a mother and a daughter is always special, but a mother and a son, it's like when your son says to you, Mom, I'm so proud of you, or Mom, you did this. It's just, for me, because I've got one of each, it's a different feel as a mom and a son, a mom and a daughter. And you see that. When you work with people and you're mentoring them, when you want to break that cycle from an abusive parents, or you saw your parents one abusing another, and it goes through generations, right? Studies show that it is generationally transported to the next generation. Do you help people break that cycle? Can you guide them and mentor them and say, okay, these are your choices, you can break the cycle?
Yeah, that actually, ironically, that's the second book that I'm working on. It's called Your Children Don't Belong to You, and it's a parenting guide. And the reason why I want to write that book is because a lot of people get lost in their role as a parent by not allowing their children to be who they're supposed to be, right? Their child is here as their own identity, a unique human being that is just here for you to guide them. And sometimes we get caught up in our role thinking that, you know, we're supposed to tell them what they're supposed to be. But instead, if you really listen to what they're telling you, they will tell you what they're supposed to be. You're only here to help them guide them through that process.
You guide them in. It's incredible. I love that second book already. And there's 2 more on the way.
I know. I'm more intrigued about the art. Tell me more about the art. I mean, you're actually in a mini gallery, so it's intriguing to hear about the art. Where did it come from?
So I realized that I can paint or draw when I was probably 12, 13. And I got, like I said, it was like a safe space for me to just be creative and let go of my emotions. And since then, throughout the years, I've done it just as a hobby. I paint different things, my emotions, my feelings. And now it's kind of gotten to a point where it's picked up some publicity and people want to see it. I've actually sold a few pieces. I've gotten commissioned to do a few pieces. So again, not something that I set out to do, but I'm taking it because it's like, wow, this is amazing. It actually goes with my book because it was a saving grace for me when I was a child. And then here I am helping people through their inner child healing and transformations. And mine is coming up to the surface as like, here, remember where you started.
Have you seen any of her works?
Yes, and they're not small pieces of art. She does very large paintings. And the scale on it and the color and the detail, the vibrancy of what you do is fascinating to me because who knew?
Who knew?
But we talk about, it's amazing, Freddie, how what we get to do comes full circle every day, right? Yesterday we talked about the arts in music and what music meant to you growing up.
Yeah.
And the creative space of why the arts are so important to kids. And unfortunately, we've lost that in schools, but you see it's a safe space for everybody and you found creativity through the art and here it comes again and you get to bring it forward as an adult.
And it's funny because the art makes other people better. It gives people the opportunity to express themselves. It gives them a voice. And
that's what that piece is right there. That piece came to us from England through a girl that was healing physically.
She was in a wheelchair when she came and she left walking.
Right.
Which is an amazing story to itself. They're still trying to figure that one out. But it's funny because if you relate it to the book, art is another way of unleashing the handcuffs. And you get to actually speak what it is that you feel, and sometimes you can't use words and you have to use art. I'm intrigued. Very nice.
Amazing. Erika, how do people reach you for a variety of ways?
Well, and I'm accessible through my website, erikaobando.com, and I'm very active on social media, as you guys know. And I get a lot of contacts through social media because I love to inspire with thoughts that come through my mind, or even situations that I go through on a day-to-day basis. I turn them into quotes and I put them on social media, and so a lot of people reach to me through there. So erikaobando.com or Erika Obando on all social media platforms.
And people are writing in, amazing. So incredible what you're doing. And I love seeing her story and the journey and more to come and the next book. And I'm honored that she was with us today.
I know. And she's a busy lady. I'm surprised you got here.
You know, anything for Dawn.
Well, we have a signed book. And, you know, we've all been through this journey together. And it all goes back, so much of it, to Alexa. For this young woman at the time, much younger than we are, stepping into her power and saying, should I do this, can I do it? And the difference that she has made in generations of women to say, you know what, you can actually do this. And she keeps pushing and we keep pushing. And it's really hard to believe that it's only been 6 years as women that we're saying, you know what, we're empowered to do and to teach and to share and to grow and to do more to inspire the next generation.
And there's a little cluster of women, Erika included, you included, that came out of that graduating class, for lack of a better word, and it's leading the way right now. And now that and you know, Lynn University, because we had some really incredible producers come out of the university, has that different edge to it. But that cluster now is producing its offspring to that next graduating class, and it's amazing how that cluster of women. I mean, Dempsey is unbelievable.
She's
in what
next.
She's doing as well.
I was talking to her a little bit. She's going to join us also because we all came from where we came from, right? Like this OG group of women where we all first met, to 6 years later where we are with marriages and relationships and children and businesses. We've all grown. We've all taken steps forward, steps backwards, sideways, like we've done this cha-cha. to see where everybody is now and to grow from that. So I was kind of excited to go back to the OG.
It went all the
and
way.
revisit it.
It went all the way from the iHeart Studios to the gallery to today.
Yeah.
And we've shed skin as you go along, and we have grown. We've all grown, thank goodness. That graduating class did pretty well.
We're going to graduate again, Erika. Yeah, I'm going to reach out to Michelle again. I'm going to email her, and she said she'd love to come on and see us. Nobody's really been here because, as I was telling Erika, but
I follow all of them.
do you?
I do. Don't tell nobody, including Michelle Dempsey. And everything that she's doing, I follow this one. I know more about her son than she probably knows because she's always putting something about her son.
It's really
and
nice.
Congratulations about his stuff, by the way.
Thank you, yes.
Congratulations on the book and the art, and we've got walls, you've got art. Maybe we can do some work together.
I was going to ask her about doing a wall of
She's
inspiration.
got a big piece, and I bet it would look great up there.
A wall of inspiration. You know, it's really funny. I got to tell you, 4 different artists were supposed to be in that piece. Mm-hmm. And it stays empty because one thing or another didn't happen. When it's a little ironic, isn't it?
And she's got great, you have large pieces.
Yeah, I usually work with 60 by 48, and I do diptychs, which is 2 paintings that become 1 painting.
Incredible. I'm so honored and so happy that you said yes, and you came and you showed up. This book is amazing, her story, all of it. You have no idea until you know Erika Obando, what a powerful, inspirational woman she is. And she is paving the way for our youth as well. So thank you so much for joining us, for being here. We're going to take a commercial break. When we come back, we're heading overseas to Toni Mackenzie in Manchester. We haven't seen her in a little bit. Yeah. She's joining us with a great guest of, it's going to be a little chilly. You know that cold room that I got to go in a couple years ago?
Yes.
We're going to be
talking. I couldn't do it.
You couldn't do it, but imagine what it's like to be in London when it's cold and do this.
You go into an iceberg and jump out.
It's a whole lot colder. Yeah. So stay tuned. We're heading overseas, and we will be right back.
Amp Media Productions and WNN Money Talk Radio have been in conjoint business for 10 years. They've been working around the clock, nonstop, to promote over 500 shows and businesses with added platforms such as social media live streaming, podcasts, and the specialty of live radio. To amplify your impact and start your show today, contact Amp Media Productions at 866-224-5422.
Welcome to your vacation staycation. And what better way to kick back than to blend up a sweet pina colada, a smooth mojito, or just a nice stiff rum and coke. If you want true relaxation and enjoyment, then you want Gubba Rum. Gubba Rum is a unique rum infusion. Gubba Silver Rum is infused with real shredded coconut, and Gubba Rum Gold is infused with real shredded vanilla bean. Both are made with certified organic ingredients. Each infused Gubba Rum is 35% ABV, 70 proof, and as we say in Boston, wicked smooth. So if you're looking for the best combination of taste, smoothness, quality, and price, your clear choice is Gubba Rum. If you want that wicked smooth taste for yourself or your vacation staycation, visit GubbaRum.com to find your closest liquor store that carries Gubba Rum Gold and Gubba Rum Silver. Gubba Rum, it's wicked smooth. Being a successful woman in business means having the courage to own who you are. We understand the challenges faced by women, and we are here to help. Our team is here to develop the best strategy designed just for you. Your path is unique, and with the right tools, you can accomplish your dream. From radio to TV, from podcasting to magazines, we create the visibility to amplify your impact in business. At New Dawn Media, we are here to help bring your message forward and help your business flourish. It is time for your message to be seen and your voice to be heard. Contact us at 866-224-5422 or brooklyncafe.tv. Your voice can make a difference.
Brooklyn Cafe Show. Join us each day and after hours as we talk about the hot topics to open the conversations and share a few laughs. Now, back to Dawn and Freddie S.
What about it?
It's beautiful.
We have a
And we're
beautiful
back.
CPU.
No, you're probably high because all those elements have to be. I bet you they're all high.
You know, we've been so busy today. They were switching on the board when we were interviewing.
I don't know what the hell they were doing.
We got to switch during commercial breaks, though. Would make it probably easier.
Yeah, wouldn't it be a little bit more common sense to do it?
They
to do
did.
it? You froze on one, you froze on two. I'm just gonna look at you for the mistake.
Who messed up your Cheerios?
They put my Cheerios and my Captain Crunch together. You know, that makes me very upset.
But it was nice having Erika join us, right? It was nice seeing everyone evolve and get a little bit settled in where they're settling in. It's like when you have a baby and you're like, the baby's crying, I gotta feed the baby. And the next thing you know, you've got the second kid. You don't run so much. By the third kid, they can sit in a dirty diaper a little bit longer. They go to the babysitter a lot easier.
I don't know anything about dirty diapers and stuff like that. I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
You know when you settle into
I
your
don't
skin.
I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
When you settle in.
I don't want to know. Dirty diapers sitting. No, you don't do that. The nice thing is that you're part of that graduating class that's done pretty well. Everybody's done very well in that whole group. Alicia's in there. All of them. I still remember going down there and doing that. Your sister was there. Your mom and your dad were there.
Lady Ann, look where she is now.
Lady Ann was there. Everybody. There was this group of women at Alexa's first, the very first one she did.
Yep.
And that graduating class went through us one way or the other with the radio stations and stuff. I thought it was really cool.
That was really nice. More to come. Now we get to head overseas to Miss Toni Mackenzie in our Manchester studios. We did not see her last week, so it's been a couple weeks. She's been with us for over a year. 2 weeks ago was her 1 year anniversary with us, and we were remiss in getting her spot out. So let's bring Toni over and let's see her new spot.
Buckle up with amp2.tv as we hop over the pond to visit your favorite Manchester personality. We've just touched down. We hope you enjoyed your flight and enjoy the show.
Hi, I'm Toni Mackenzie. I'm a happiness mentor and author of the Amazon bestseller, Your Flight to Happiness, a 7-step journey to emotional freedom. You can read 75 5-star reviews on Amazon UK, and it's also available to order from Amazon worldwide, as well as other online booksellers, including Barnes & Noble in the USA and Waterstones in the UK. I'm a fully qualified counsellor, psychotherapist, transformational hypnotherapist, mindset coach, and practitioner of EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique, tapping, NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Programming, and RTT, Rapid Transformational Therapy. Working with my clients in person and online to change their minds so they can change their lives. You can find more information on my website www.innerdepths, that's INNERDEPTHS.co.uk.
And we're back.
Fantastic.
Thank you for the countdown. And we're back.
How are you doing, Toni? Welcome. It's been
I'm
a
good.
little bit. How do you like that piece?
Yeah, it was great. Great to see them both. Although it sounded really slow to me, actually. When I was recording it, I think I just took my time and I was like wanting to hurry myself up when I was watching it. I think when you watch yourself, you're always a bit critical, aren't you? You know, you tend to be, could have done that better.
It's
But,
different
it was
though,
great.
because it's very calming, and I feel like listening to you, I go into a whole kind of meditational calmness.
Yeah, well, being a hypnotherapist, that's a good thing, isn't it? To help
Exactly.
people sort of get an idea of how I can help them to feel calm.
Exactly. How are
Yeah,
you doing? How's everything over in
I'm doing good,
Manchester?
thank you. Yeah, it's getting wintry and getting dark earlier, of course, this time of year. But apart from that, things are just going from day to day. Nothing out of the ordinary is happening as far as I'm aware, although I don't kind of go looking into the news. I tend to just pick up what I pick up and get on with life and be as positive as possible. Don't dwell on the negative things.
We just picked up the first people from the UK, I think it was Monday, because the ban has been lifted. If you're fully vaccinated, you can now
Yeah.
come to the States. So that I think started on Monday or Sunday, one of this week, which was great to see. And they interviewed a grandmother who had never seen her grandson or daughter for 2 years. And, you know, there's this kid, and he's like a bobblehead. He doesn't know who she is. And she came over
Yeah.
and she started crying, and they put that on the news. It was really kind of cool because, you know, human beings
Yeah.
need contact. So that was in the
Yeah.
news this week.
Yeah, I think I saw that. There were a couple who'd never seen, they hadn't seen one of the grandchildren for a long time, and the second grandchild they hadn't seen at all because he or she was born during that period of time. It's probably the same story. Yeah. So that's good. It's great that they're letting the Brits back into the USA step forward.
It's so great. I feel like, and I was telling Erika this morning, that I feel like we're in this post-war mentality. Like we're coming out of war and people are now finally getting to hug their loved ones again. Borders are being opened up. We can travel again. It's a whole other
Yeah.
feeling of connection, but people don't know what to do because we haven't done this for 2 years. Essentially,
Yeah.
you're looking at 2 years, right, of everything being shut down and feelings being suppressed and what you want and what you think you're going to do and then what you actually get to do. You must be
Yeah.
quite busy.
Yes, I am. And getting busier every day, actually. More and more people are. I think I said there was a bit of a lull the month before last, I think in sort of September, August, September. But then I think perhaps when schools went back and people started thinking about focusing on themselves, especially parents, I had a lot of people contacting me wanting help with anxiety and all sorts of different issues. So it's good to get back into helping more people than have been able to during lockdown with having to do it online. Although I have worked online, I haven't seen as many, so that's really good. Really
Which is
positive
really
move
good. And I
forward.
feel like more than ever,
Yeah.
people need your book, Your Flight to Happiness, a change of
Yeah.
perspective.
Absolutely, yes. And I was listening to Erika earlier on, and there were so many things she said that I was like, totally, yes. You know, I say that. I share that with my clients, and it's you know, she's obviously mentoring and coaching and sharing positivity and what she's learned in order to help other people make changes in their lives, and it's wonderful to be able to do that.
How do you help people change their perspective, right? The same thing can happen to two people. You and I can be sitting here and the same situation happens. But yet
Yeah.
your perspective may be one side and mine might be on another side. How do you
Yeah,
help people
it's how-
shift perspective to maybe a more positive situation from the same thing that happened?
I think by helping them to become aware that they can do, because people, if they don't know that they can change their way of thinking, they just react spontaneously because of experiences they've had in life in the past. They just will react to a situation, something that somebody says or doesn't say what they want them to say. And there can be, as you said, two totally different reactions. So it's helping people to see that and be able to step back and make a choice about how they react. Become aware of the thoughts that are going on in their head. So as we've talked about so many times before, it's not what's happening out there, it is how we react to it. And we do have a choice. And when we have tools and techniques to help us pause, stop, change the thoughts, then we change the feelings, the actions, and the reactions.
Changing our perspective of what it is. And I was talking to
Yeah.
another host the other day about the triggers now people are going to go into for holidays. And maybe we can address this on our show in the next couple of weeks as we approach Thanksgiving, because we haven't been with families. Families haven't had family gatherings that they're going to be having. And those triggers that you had 3 years ago are going to be re-triggered again, but you forgot about them.
Yeah, That's right, yeah. And people have changed, whether it's for the better or the worse, but there have been so many changes, haven't there, in the world, in people as individuals. So, who knows, like people could go into meeting up with the family at Christmas, having expectations of how interactions are going to be, and they might be quite different. So I'd recommend, just have an open mind and just be your best self. And if people are difficult, just take a step back, breathe, and let it go as far as possible.
Well, one of the problems is that people have been so cooped up for 2 years, and things have happened, and it's made them very bitter. And there's some angry people going on right now, and they bring that to the table, and it gets caught up in the environment, not because that's who they are, but because of what's going on. I saw on the news where certain Republicans are getting very bad phone calls because people are just so fed up. And they're calling them traitors for voting for the 1.2. Just on and on and on. And there's characteristics right now that I know that these are not the people that I knew back when. They are just here underwater, and that has changed. So it's going to be an interesting holiday.
So I'm glad you're going to be joining us. I want people to really get Toni's book. And what's the best way to get it? It makes a great holiday gift. You're talking about a hostess gift, or for your kids or family members. Changing your perspective on what you can do to take accountability for what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it can be life-changing. And on Amazon UK, there are over 75 five-star reviews. So it really has helped a lot of people. And I've written that book in a way that's kind of reader-friendly. It's not just text or me talking down to people because I know it all as a therapist. I don't. I'm a human being. But sharing the lessons I've learned and the tools and techniques at the end of each step that people can use to change their lives. And of course, it's available on Amazon.com as well as .co.uk. In fact, all Europe, Australia, everywhere. And also Barnes and Noble in the States. And it's now more readily available in the USA on Amazon. There was a wait before, but now it's showing as in stock, which is great. So yes, people can find my book there, and in the UK, Amazon and Waterstones, big book chain here.
There's so many great quotes. Every time I open one, here's one you have from Oprah Winfrey, and then we're going to bring your guest over. Be thankful for what you have. You'll end up having more. If you concentrate on what you don't have, you'll never, ever have enough.
That's right, isn't it? What you focus on. Yeah, what you focus on, what you think, you tend to attract more of.
So let's attract abundance. Let's talk about your next guest. It's how cold in Manchester right now, and then they're going to go into sub-cold water?
Yeah, well, Angela Bentley is my guest, otherwise known as the Ice Warrior. That's her name on social media. And she takes individuals, small groups, into icy water, wearing a swimsuit and, going by the photographs on Facebook, mostly a woolly hat. And this Wim Hof method was devised by a Dutchman, an extreme athlete, who was called Wim Hof. And some of the benefits of it, I don't know whether I've got the list I sent to you earlier, but here we are. Apparently this proper exposure to the cold and using breathing techniques to control the cold, the mind, the body, the shivers. And it aids fat loss, reduces inflammation, fortifies the immune system, balances hormone levels, improves sleep quality, and produces endorphins.
Well, it sounds fantastic.
It has many benefits.
Well, let's bring Angela over, because it sounds like all the things I want, but I don't know if I want to. I'm cold just sitting here. So, hi, Angela.
Hi, thank you for having me. It's lovely to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you. Tell us about the Wim Hof method.
So it's Wim Hof, W-I-M, Wim Hof. Is my sound okay?
Yep. Yes, you're good.
Sure.
You sound great.
Yeah, so
yes.
Cool. So I got into the Wim Hof method at the beginning of lockdown, so it's really interesting hearing kind of how everybody's moving through lockdown and kind of having different emotions, moving into kind of Thanksgiving and the holiday period and stuff. So my journey with the Wim Hof method started at the beginning of lockdown. I have had anxiety throughout my life. I have managed it in different ways, through kind of essential oils, through meditation, through different ways. And I think when lockdown hit, I had I had 2 children to homeschool. I had a corporate career. I was trying to build a little business. I had all these things going on, as many mums throughout the world had. And my anxiety just went through the roof. And then I stumbled across this Wim Hof method, and it said, try this thing for 3 days. So I was like, well, what's I've got to lose? You know, it's going to help me with my anxiety. So I took to the breath work. So I started doing my breath work. I got to the cold shower, and literally within days, my anxiety was gone. And I was managing it so well. And I carried on with it, and I found that my hormones were balanced. My strength in my mind grew, my strength in my body grew. I had more focus, I had more confidence, and all these things started coming out of this amazing thing that I was doing. I started in the winter getting into sub-zero pools and pushing my boundaries and really kind of building my resilience, and actually getting excited about the snow and doing snow angels in my swimming costume, but that's a different story.
We had someone come in, I guess it was during the pandemic. She talked about breath work and taking these cold showers. How long do you go in how long do you start in this cold shower? And you said, do you remember who it was? Yeah. And you said, oh no, I tried it. I get a couple seconds. So
that's
how do you start?
Washington.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that.
That's how she started.
It's a great question on how you start, though, because if you just go and jump in a cold shower, it's pretty hardcore. I find that hardcore, and I do this for a living. So get into your shower, get it nice and warm, get yourself all washed and stuff, so your blood's circulating around with the warmth, and then switch it to cold, and just go for 30 seconds, 15 seconds to start with, and then build and build and build. And it's really hard. So what I've done over the course of time is I've built a strength muscle in my brain that it's mind over matter. So now I go, oh, it's cold, I want that warmth of my shower, and I just go to cold. You know that you'll like it. You know that it's going to do you good.
How does it balance hormones and help with inflammation? Because the list that Toni sent me is fascinating, especially as we age and our hormones sort of go a little bit off kilter for women. I know you're perfectly normal. But for me, between hormones and anxiety and all those things, how does that help with inflammation? How does it work?
Yeah, so when you're going into the cold water, you release adrenaline, cortisol, noradrenaline. So you release all these things into your body, and they're natural anti-inflammatories. So they're balancing, so they're reducing the inflammation in your body. The hormones is more down to the breathing techniques that you do. So the breathing techniques is 30 deep inhales and exhales, and then you hold your breath on the out breath. You hold it, and when you've done those 30 inhales and exhales, you've lowered the carbon dioxide in your body, so you can hold your breath for a longer period of time. So I can hold my breath for nearly 3 minutes. Wow. Pretty much every day. Whereas, because I've lowered that carbon dioxide, and I teach people, like I taught someone this morning, and I taught them how to do that method, and they could do 2.5 methods. It's not something that that Wim can do and I can do. Anybody can do this method. It's not difficult to learn.
And what are the results you're seeing with your clients?
Oh, do you know, Toni referenced me taking people into the lake, and on an emotional basis, it's amazing. So what they're doing when they're going into that lake, it's cold. I mean, it's kind of 9 degrees in that water. It's bloody cold. So they're going into the water, and they're facing their fears, and you can see the sheer fear in their eyes, and I'm helping them, bringing them into the water. And they face their fears, they build their courage, and they release all the stresses and strains and anxiety. You can see it just come out of them, and it releases. And then the dopamine kicks in, all the happy hormones come in, and they're just on a buzz. So what happens is, with building that courage and facing those fears, it ripples into all the other parts of their lives. So they have the courage to have difficult conversations at home. They have the courage to leave the corporate job, whatever that is. They're building that courage, and they're transferring it into different parts of their lives.
It is fascinating. I'm telling you, do you not find this so serendipitous of what we talked about this morning is coming full circle from all the other guests this afternoon? Finding that courage to have those difficult conversations, to ask those difficult questions.
Wait a minute, 9 degrees is
all of those things.
It's a different type of courage, man. I'm gonna tell you something. Now, is this a lake that you put them in?
So yeah, lake, but I'm going to waterfalls on Friday. So it's waterfalls. They'll be colder.
Moving water is colder, yes. But there is a piece of this that you have to touch on. You know, the lake has minerals. They make a difference if you try the coldness method in a shower. And I'm telling you this because I do it for the inflammation in my body. It lowers the inflammation of your body. But the minerals in the lake is what's missing. Because in Puerto Rico, there was a lake that we used to go to, and you had to wait online. And people would get into this freaking thing, and you would come out like this. But my God, you felt like a totally different human being. It was up in the mountains, and you had to wait online to get in this thing. But my goodness, you feel like $1 million. But it was the minerals.
Well, we have slightly different lakes, I think. I don't think we have those beautiful minerals that you have in those lakes. So I'm on my way over there. So yeah, don't think we have those.
Can you work with
Toni?
people virtually on breath work? And
yeah.
I know they can't be in London or Manchester, but I guess you could start with a cold shower anywhere. The breathing techniques.
Yeah. So I do most of the time I do 2 sessions. So I'll do the breath work with them online because I don't want to take them to the cold, and they have to understand the breath work and the cold at the same time. So I do the breath work online, and then I take them to cold. But I do work with clients where I send them like a tub that they can put in their garden, and so that they can start with the showers, then we go to the tub, and it's a whole journey. And I bring in the wellness that Toni kind of practices, you know, so we're doing the gratitude like you mentioned before, we're doing the journaling. It's a whole journey really that you take on, and their journey is different to mine, it would be different to yours. It's just starting their journey, and my passion is to help them to build it into their everyday lives. Because it's great going to these lakes, you know, you go and you dip yourself in this lake and we have a lovely time, but that's not going to do anything long term for us. It's just building it into their everyday lives.
Toni, what do you think?
Toni, do it.
I did. Yeah.
Yeah?
I what? Sorry. No, I didn't do it. You say I did it.
We're encouraging you to do it.
Oh, do it. No, I don't. I mean, it sounds great for, you know, if it appeals to you. There's so many different things you can do, aren't there, that are, you know, are good for you, wellness methods and techniques. But that one doesn't particularly appeal to me. And I think I've done a lot of self-work. I don't suffer from anxiety. I'm pretty much, you know, in control of my mind. So I prefer to stay warm. Thank you for the time being, anyway.
Do you find the journaling and the gratitude all makes a difference in stress and anxiety? Yes, but do you think that can help with the inflammation and the hormones to release or find a new perspective?
Potentially, recognizing them and doing something about them, potentially.
Yeah. It all works together. I'm feeling like
It
this
all
is what people need for the holidays.
Jump in 9-degree water.
It's the whole process of getting back in touch with your feelings of what post-war, of coming out of where we come out with and saying, you know what, I'm happy with this in my life. I'm not happy with this. I got to make a shift.
Well, you jump in that water, you're going to be.
I'm going to take a cold shower tonight, and I'll let you know how that goes. How long? 15 seconds?
Yeah, start with 15, then build up to 30, and try and get it up to 3 minutes, and then you're good.
We went into, you probably have them there also, these very cold cryo chambers.
Yes, yeah, we do.
So we did that once on a shoot. He couldn't go in because of his neuropathy, so I got to go in. I got to tell you, I think I burned a whole lot of calories that day.
Yeah, it helps with your metabolism.
She looked like a red popsicle when she came out. We were all and then they had CBD on there. So we all had CBD. I had like 20 of them. And because this was in the day. This was new. And everybody felt good. But you look like a red popsicle.
But I think it's a great idea it's your muscle memory of your brain, of reworking your muscles in your brain, of what you can do and releasing the fear. Everything we've been talking
Well,
about.
it's funny because my diabetic doctor, Dr. Hare, I told him about the coldness because they told me I couldn't go in this chamber. I used the cold water method on my legs and my hands, and I gotta tell you, it takes the inflammation out. It's like putting your feet and ankles in an ice bucket, which I used to do in high school, and I still do that. But the cold shower works. It's you got to be able to stand it, though. I'm gonna tell you, Toni. I'm gonna tell you, you should try it. You should try a little bit.
I have tried cold showers. I've had cold showers. I went through a phase of doing that, and I was taking this sort of hot lemon and with, I forget what was in it now, this particular drink I had every day, and I had cold showers. It was something that was taught by a spiritual teacher. I did that for a while, but then it just sort of fizzled out.
How do people reach you,
my
Angela? Because this is fascinating.
Yeah, so I have a website. It's called theicewarrior.com. So I introduced what I do on there, and to be honest with you, the Ice Warrior. It came about because I actually did feel like a warrior. So it was interesting to listen to your previous guest about how her children see her, and how she listens to her children and things like that. And I don't know how you're doing for time, but just to finish on this, but it is a big thing in terms of how my children see me and how I am a role model to them. Is that I am doing a job that I absolutely love, but they also see me as strong. So I was walking to school with my little boy, and he said, I'm just like my mum. And I was like, what do you mean? He went, I'm just super strong. And they just see me as, strong and doing what I love. And that means so much. And it was interesting listening to your previous guest. I forgot her name, sorry.
Erika,
but it's lovely. Yeah, Erika, that's it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It is.
That's lovely.
You're a role model for your kids.
Yeah.
And that's
great.
That's my first job.
Wow.
Yeah, always as a mum.
Toni, you always bring on great guests, and I'm always inspired. So 15 seconds cold shower. I'll let you know how that rolls out.
Yeah, you let me know.
Yeah.
But you know what? If there's a natural way to balance hormones and inflammation and anxiety, why not try it?
You got nothing to lose.
You got nothing to lose.
That's today's
Exactly.
motto. You got nothing to lose.
If you don't try it, you'll never know. You got to get out of the comfort zone.
True that.
Absolutely.
Ladies, thank you so much. Toni, I loved your piece. If you want to send anything else over, of course, we can always edit it, add it, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, okay. Right. Well, thanks for playing them tonight. Or
Thank
today.
you so much.
Yeah.
Toni, stay
It was
safe.
lovely to meet you.
Angela, lovely to meet you. More to come. I'm going to try it out, though.
Great.
Have a great night, ladies.
Enjoy.
Bye-bye. What a nice show. You never know. It started off with you doing a different type of interview, which was really cool, with Harry, that you never do. So I can't wait to see that tomorrow.
I never had the opportunity.
I know.
You didn't think I could do it, did you?
I knew you could. I didn't know if you would.
I said to myself,
why not?
Why not?
You got nothing
What's
to
the,
lose.
You got nothing to lose.
What's the worst that can happen? How do you like that motto?
Oh, it's okay. I don't like going into a situation like that. I sort of like to believe I'm going to do this because I can.
And you did. Can't wait to see it. More to come on that one.
You and me both.
So Veterans Day is tomorrow. It's nice that we got to kick it off a little bit today with our World War II vet, Harry Holzwasser. They're laughing in there.
Harry who?
Holzwasser.
Sergeant Harry?
97 years young. And we get the honor tomorrow to go do some film.
Holzwasser.
Correct.
Holzwasser?
Holzwasser.
Who's that?
Holzwasser.
It took 6 takes.
And Erika Obando and Obando. A great show. Toni Mackenzie back, and Angela. I think today's messages, as you always say, you have to heed your messages. You get 7 a day. The message of today is step out of your comfort zone. What's the worst that can happen? Take accountability for your actions. Find your voice and make a difference.
And if you step out of your zone and it doesn't work, you jump in the shower, 9-degree weather, I guarantee you'll be back in between that.
Have a great afternoon, everyone. Stay safe. Happy Veterans Day tomorrow, and we'll see you 9 a.m. drive time.
And don't be late.
Bye-bye.
Well, that's about it for today. Even though the show's over, the Brooklyn Cafe is always open for business. You're invited to join the fun every day from 12 to 2. If you missed some of the laughs from today, Dawn and Freddie S. will bring you more good cheer next time. You can follow the Brooklyn Cafe on Facebook at the Brooklyn Cafe TV to rewatch every minute of the show. We'll see you next time.
In the cold and sleepless nights, I wait for you to bring me back to life. In my electric eyes, it doesn't mean that time can thicken every single breath. I want to unfreeze my heart and fly away. That's why I wanna save her. Your moons and craters. Open up my eyes, waterfalls of ice, sweeping me away like an avalanche. Helpless as I fall, the words can't say it all, sweeping me away like an avalanche, like an avalanche. I listen for a sound, waiting deep inside my maze of sweeping thrills and colors. Just a ray of light, bathing me in drops of ink that glaze across my body. Wish you could unfreeze my heart and we could fly.